Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Greenlit and Grounded, and Happy New Year. In today's episode, we had the incredible opportunity to sit down with talent agent Bryan Misener from the Characters Agency.
We chatted with him about some of the behind-the-scenes conversations that an agent might have with a casting director when pitching an actor for a project.
Bryan also shared some personal stories of things that he doesn't like that actors do.
He also talked about the one common trait that all of his working actors have outside of simply talent and hard work.
Now, we're so incredibly grateful that Bryan gave us any of his time, but if there are any questions that we didn't ask that you wished we did, let us know in the comments down below. We're going to try to have other talent agents on, and if we're lucky, Bryan may join us again sometime soon.
And if you guys do enjoy episodes like this, where we bring on people involved in the industry outside of actors, let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and we hope you enjoyed the episode. Bryan Misener, thank you so much for joining us today, man.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
So, as actors, we've heard from various panels, whether it's a casting director panel, agency panels, or even panels of like more established actors, that actors today should really focus on making their own work and cultivating their own demo footage, like not waiting for that opportunity. And I guess we're curious, do you as an agent feel any responsibility for any one client to develop a specific type of work, or like whether it's for a certain role or genre that you can then use to sell them better to casting and productions?
Well, I mean, it's great to have variety, and I mean, I have some clients that have like a full-on demo,
Okay.
and then they have specific clips from projects that we can send, that sort of is similar to that character they're reading for. Mm-hmm. So I can send like the master reel, and then also a clip where they also play like a real corporate jerk or a cop.
Mm-hmm. So outside of their regular demo reel.
Yes.
Why would that not be included in their demo reel?
Sometimes it is.
Oh, okay.
Just depending on, because if you have the master reel, it should only really be like 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have too much of that guy in it.
Right.
But then again, I have someone who has like 3 different demos, and one demo is really sort of light and comedic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, which we would send for like, Hallmark or something really lighter, nothing dark or scary. And then they have like a regular demo with all sort of dark and serious and, murder and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's good to have a variety, and especially you can do that these days. It's not as difficult as it used to be, where you had to be like, it took forever to get a demo and someone had to do it for you and it cost a fortune. But now you can sort of put things together. I mean, I literally, like, on Friday, asked one of my guys, can you just send me just 2 clips from the demo and put those together?
Oh, nice.
Because casting asked for just, like, something a little more romantic.
Yeah.
And the demo had a little bit of that, but also had, like, him, assaulting someone and stuff. And they didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I guess that's true. If you are trying to be seen as, like, someone who's more romantic.
Yes.
And it's immediately preceded or followed by a clip of you assaulting someone, that definitely colors the romance
absolutely.
a little differently.
And I've sent a demo and sent a note saying, just so you know, a lot of swearing on this one, or the first scene's really dark, whatever. So now there is a lot more flexibility.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And do you think, because like a lot of times, especially for whether it's a newer actor or a younger actor, a lot of times they don't have a plethora of professionally produced, colored, and edited footage. So if you do have, let's say, some footage from professional works, but then maybe you have class work or something you shot on your own at home, or you rented out like a studio maybe like this where it looks like a studio, is that footage just as valuable to have in conjunction with a demo reel?
I mean, I rarely would send class work unless it was the only thing I had, and they insisted on seeing something on tape. I mean, better just the audition to speak for itself.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, I have seen, like there's a couple studios, acting studios that do like scene demos that they put together. And some of them look really good. Mm-hmm. Like it legitimately looks like a scene from a project.
Oh, so it doesn't actually matter that it's not from
a project or like a reputable show, or
It just has to look like it.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's always good. I mean, as long as the lighting is good and the sound is good and you come across really well, then yeah, it works. Just because, it makes casting feel a little bit better about sending it off, that, that you're comfortable on camera and, how you look and all that sort of thing makes a difference. So yeah, every little bit helps. So.
For sure.
So now when you have an actor that doesn't have a very, we'll say specific look, like a marketable look, like, oh, you have that Hallmark look, or you have that, we'll say killer look or whatever you may call it. Do you work with them to kind of figure out how do you want to be perceived in the industry? Do you leave it up to them to be like, this is what I want to go for?
I mean, we have those conversations for sure, but I mean, we're in, Canada where you kind of have to do everything.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't really sort of stick to your niche and like, I only want to, be seen for these kind of guys because you'll only work like half the time. I mean, you have to be flexible. So yeah, we talk about that kind of thing. What is your goal? And sometimes people will sort of get stuck in a rut and be playing this kind of part for several years. And then they'll say, can we just not do that for a while?
They get stuck in that rut because that's just where the industry took them?
And they keep getting booked.
Oh, okay,
in
okay.
that.
So not because they've made the choice to only do that.
No,
Okay.
it's just like, okay, great. I, booked again for a serial killer. Well, that's great, I'm working and stuff. But can we like try and steer away from that?
Yeah.
And we'll, work on that. But, yeah, and of course, casting, sort of gets into a mindset like, oh, yeah, he's really good at playing the killer. So they don't see them for the romantic lead guy.
So that leads to our next question is how much, I guess, pull do you as an agent have? Is it the agency? Is it the agent itself? Is it a mix of both? That when you're talking to casting and they're like, well, this guy's always coming in for killers. And you're like, yeah, but now I want to push for this. Is that a relationship that you as the agent have specifically with each casting director?
Yes.
Or is it an agency thing as well where
No.
it's specific to the agent?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because, I mean, we're a big agency, and people used to be worried about, like, oh, I don't want to be with them because they're so big and you get lost.
They lost in the shuffle.
But
yeah.
we are really, like, we're like satellites. We're all looked at as individuals.
Yeah.
So it's not like casting goes, well, I'm going to see 10 people from the characters. It's like, I'll see, 3 people from Brian and 5 people from Karen and, that kind of stuff. So that's not really a concern. It's about building the relationship that you have with casting people.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm lucky enough that I sort of came up with people. I mean, when I started at the characters, Jason Knight was one of our clients.
Yeah.
And I was his agent's assistant.
No way.
So we have known each other for like 28 years.
Yeah.
We're trying to get Jason on, so if you can put in a good word for us.
Just shoot him a quick text for us. Be like, hey, they're great.
So we already sort of, know each other really well and can be really honest with each other. And comfortable with each other, and and he's been really supportive of me because we get to a point where he trusts that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be pushing someone that's not right for it or wasting his time because these days it's all about time. And same with Jenny and Sarah. I mean, when I was an assistant, they were casting assistants.
Yeah.
So we spoke to each other all the time, and we sort of we came up together and we sort of build those relationships. So again, we can be really honest with each other and say, really, and they trust me. If I say, no, really, I think you're making a mistake. You really should see them for this, whatever. And
so not just for like if your client has an audition and they don't get a call back, you're talking even for pitching the client for the audition.
Oh, for sure.
So you would pick up the phone and actually contact them.
Because they'll say like, oh, yeah, I don't know. He's really good at that, but he's not really good at it. Then I'll say, no, really, just let me tape him, see what you think.
Yeah.
And then go from there. And if you don't want to show it to producers, fine, that's whatever. But I just want you to see it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the olden times, it was like begging to get a space in the room.
Like an in-person audition.
Right.
And those were hard to come by.
But now it's like, you don't even have to leave your bed.
Yeah.
Can you just watch this extra minute and a half or 30 seconds of the minute and a half?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference. I mean, I remember, oh God, I have so many stories, but
We got a lot of time.
You do, man. I'd love to hear your stories.
When I had been an agent for probably not even 10 years. So I was starting to get like people sort of knew I was good and I had really good people and stuff. And there was this mini series that we got a breakdown for, big mini series, BBC, Canadian, American co-production.
Wow.
And one of the leads was so perfect for one of my guys. It was like written for him.
Yeah.
It could not have been more obvious. So I called the casting director, who was a really big casting director and super tough, known for being tough. And I said, I'd really like it if you could bring it, because this is still in the room.
Yeah.
If you could bring him in for this. And she was like, no, I don't like him. I don't really like him.
Oh, wow.
I went, I really think you really should see him for this, you know, even just on your own.
Yeah.
No producer, director, just you. Just do like a pre-audition kind of thing. Because I really think he's so perfect for this. And I listed off why, you know, the age and the type of guy he was and what he'd done before. And she was like, oh, God, okay. And we hadn't really, I think I maybe had just a couple bookings with her because she didn't do a lot of stuff, but it was always like really good.
Whenever she did something, it was like
big.
quality. Yeah.
So she's like, okay, well, I'll bring him in before a session and we'll go from there. She brought him in and then she called me like half an hour after the session. She's like, I'm so sorry. I was thinking of someone else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So this is crazy because I'm so grateful that you're here because these are all the tiny little things that most actors don't even know happen behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if you had you've already basically done your job as an agent by picking up the phone and calling this casting director and putting your neck on the line and your relationship on the line. And then when you got the initial no, to have the chutzpah to go, I know you're great and everything, but I really think so. You wouldn't have had that opportunity for this casting director to realize the moment that they had messed up.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And he did get the part.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And since then, she's really like been an advocate for me and my clients.
Right.
I mean, one of my girls was up for a series that she was casting, and producers were hesitating, and she really was like, no, she's the girl. You really have to.
This is so important because we've actually talked about this with our current and previous agents, as well as our other friends, where it's like, every actor, I think, needs to have a healthy amount of ego of like, I can do this. They need to be their biggest advocate. But when it comes to being an agent, part of the value you bring to that actor-agent relationship, in my opinion, is your relationship with casting to be able to do that. And so you sort of need to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, the mental calculus of, is this the client and role and timing and casting director right combination to stick my neck out on the line? Because if I get that wrong enough times, I lose my value as an agent.
Right.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. And then if, for whatever reason, the client, doesn't do a great job, doesn't do the job I thought they could do.
Yeah.
Then that, then they kind of hesitate the next time I push, that kind of thing. And in the olden times when it was in the room, if I pushed to get someone in and they, for whatever reason, forgot to go.
Stop.
Yeah. Or was really late or didn't learn the material or whatever, then it's like, oh my God. So it gets a little bit harder the next time. You know? So that's,
They're kind of capping you at the knees when they don't bring their A game and do their part.
Yeah.
This is okay. So there's like 1,000 questions that I have to offshoot from this. Can I just go for a second?
Go.
So you were talking before about how, because you're with the characters and your relationship with casting is about you, Bryan. And sure, maybe there's like an element of, I don't know this I don't know this agent so well, but they're with the character. So I may look at it a certain way.
I mean, in the beginning of my agent career.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a big part of it.
For sure,
I was like so lucky to be under the characters because they know. I mean, Larry started the company like 56, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, and everyone.
Is that Goldhar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone trusted him and he was like such a wonderful man, but also a smart businessman. So the very fact that he would have made me an agent says to them that, okay, he must have some quality. Right. So that's already one hurdle I'm over.
Exactly.
And then when I started building the roster, because I started with no clients.
Sure.
And we started building the roster and, a couple of them get a great job and that kind of gets out there. So that's another hurdle, and then you get to a place where they kind of go, okay, he knows what he's doing.
For sure.
And he's willing to put in the work.
Yeah. And so when you're at the characters, because it's more about your personal relationship with casting, talk to me a little bit about internal competition, because obviously you want the characters to succeed and you want all the clients at the characters talent agency to succeed, but you're there for your clients. And so if you have a casting director that's only going to be able to see so many people either in person or via self-tape, what are sort of the conversations that happen between you and maybe other agents when one of your clients gets scenes and not theirs, or vice versa? Is there a weird dichotomy there?
No, I mean, we just make a habit of sharing as much information as possible.
Great.
So throughout the day, we all get emails saying, this person's auditioning for this.
Right.
So you look at who they're seeing and you go, okay, well, my guy's like at least 10 years younger. So
Yeah.
I can see why he's not getting an audition.
Yeah.
But then if you see someone that's like really similar, you go, okay,
Well,
why is
that
that
person,
guy?
yeah.
So that's when I'll reach out to casting and go, oh, you know, so-and-so got an audition and blah, 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 that kind of thing. So yeah, we just have to, and we're perfectly, you know, fine with giving each other that information. Like so-and-so has a callback.
Sure.
You know, so that we know, okay, well, my guy doesn't have a
Didn't
callback.
get a callback.
So he's not sort of on the short list.
Right.
Kind of thing.
So, but in a situation like that, if one of your colleagues has a client that gets a callback, let's say your client doesn't, but you feel their tape was strong enough to get a callback, do you then jump on the phone and say, hey, you're
WTF.
bringing in this guy. Why are you bringing,
Yeah.
like, what's going on? Like,
If I can see that my person that taped was just as good
Yeah.
or the same kind of type, then I'll reach out to casting just to say, like, was there a dilemma? Was
Yeah.
there something,
Yeah.
you know, was it just as simple as like,
Not the right.
have to be 6'3",
Right,
you know, that
right.
kind of thing. So
Or like, I don't know, it's just a vibe. Like,
there's that too.
yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
which is
yeah.
crazy
So-
to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's out of your hands,
Yeah.
really.
So
Very much so.
I do want to, when you were saying you were building a roster when you first started at
Yeah.
the agency, even now, I think people would be interested in knowing when someone submits to Bryan, is it fully in your hands whether or not you bring them on? Is it
Yeah.
you're interested and then you run it by
I don't
anyone
have
else?
to run it by anyone.
No one.
No
It's
one.
just totally up to you,
Yeah.
totally in your hands.
Yeah.
For a newer agent, do they have a little less leeway to do that, or it's fully up to them? They never have to run it by the
Just
agency
with
they're
us.
with.
I don't know how other agencies
right,
work.
right.
So there are. I mean, it's mostly an American thing, but the American agents sort of work as teams,
Right.
and they do have to sort of consult each other.
Sure.
But here, for the most part, there are, I think, some agencies here that do that. But for the most part, we're all individuals.
Yeah.
Right.
So we usually don't have to clear it with someone.
I think at my agency, because the agents, it's basically one giant roster. It's not even a giant roster, but it's one roster that different agents run point for different clients. But I think even for myself, when I submitted to my now agent, they looked at another agent and went, hey, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. What do you think? So they did collaborate in that moment a little more.
yeah,
For
we
sure.
don't do that.
No. And I'm just like, so what are some of the considerations when you're crafting your roster? Because obviously sometimes it comes down to the kind of product you have in terms of, I have 3 of these and I have 2 of those. Oh, look, I don't have 1 of you. So let me do that. But like, are there other considerations that maybe the average actor wouldn't know goes through your head when you're considering whether or not to sign someone?
Well, when I started, and Larry made me an agent, I was like, just so you know, because I had assisted someone with a massive roster.
Right.
And
Who did you assist before?
Rhonda Cooper and Ron Barry
Right.
at the same time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was nuts. It was crazy. I mean, I cried a lot and had a headache every day because, I mean, back then, Toronto was so insanely busy.
Right.
Because at that point, there was no streamers or anything like that. There were like 4 networks,
Right.
ABC, CBS, and they all made their own movies
Right.
for television. And Toronto was like the epicenter of that.
So
So they must.
what year is this? Like what? So give me a timeline here.
So I would say, 20, like late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
I mean, they must have been doing like at least 100 a year.
Wow.
ABC Movie of the Week, CBS Movie of the Week, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And most of them here. So it was so crazy. I was working like 12, 14 hours a day.
Dang.
Being an assistant.
Yeah.
Because before computers.
Oh, right. So there's just more
Mailing
like
everything out
legwork you
and-
have to
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was typing all
Get those steps in.
Absolutely. Typing up all the lists and pulling all the pictures because
Yeah.
it was pictures and resumes.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And we had this huge filing cabinet room,
Yeah.
and we had to pull all the pictures and resumes, put them in packages. The packages
Mail
had to
it
be
out.
picked up
Yeah.
at 1
Yeah.
o'clock.
Yeah.
The driver picked them up, took them to casting. Around 3 o'clock, we started to get the calls from
Yeah.
casting. Then we started to get auditions. Then casting, we had to fax all the sides,
Wow.
and we would have to fax them out to the clients.
Yeah.
And
The chain of like events that had to happen.
it really was. It was quite crazy. Anyway, so what was? Oh, right. So I had assisted someone with a huge roster, and so yeah, you can make a lot of money with a huge roster, but there's still a lot of people not working. So when I was an assistant, I sort of saw that people be like, oh, I haven't worked for long, and you have a lot of conflicts on the roster. So when Larry promoted me, I said, just so you know, I'm going to try to have a pretty small roster, and he was totally fine with that. It's up to me. So
what's considered a small roster?
Well, it varies, but I mean, I have less than 50 people.
Personally that you manage? Okay, great.
Yes. An average is probably like, I would say 80 to 100.
For an individual agent?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And I, know agents that have 200.
Yeah.
Which is bananas.
The characters total, do you guys have over 400
total? Oh, more than that.
Total.
Yeah. Way more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because you guys also have Vancouver and Toronto, right?
Yes.
So it's like
Yeah, we have, so at the beginning, I didn't really have a lot of options. I was new and didn't have anyone on my roster. So I was just sort of, people would send me stuff. I had a stack of envelopes, and I'd go through them and say, oh, he looks interesting and good. And I had a lot of meetings and just to find out what kind of person they are. And then I was lucky enough to take a couple people. I remember this actress that I know. She, called me. She's like, "Oh, this friend of mine's moving to Toronto from Alberta, and he's really great. He's a brilliant theater actor. You used to have a meeting with him." And she sent me his picture and resume. And I was like, "Oh my god, he's like a total character actor, mid-30s. What am I going to do with this guy? No film or television experience, all theater."
Yeah.
And then I met him, and he was really wonderful. And I was like, "Okay."
Him as a person.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Great.
And that makes a big difference to me.
We actually did get a question from one of our followers asking about if would you rather work with someone who's a great to work with and has talent, but maybe it's just more about the energy they bring, or if it's someone who's the most talented but they're not the best to work with. What's that boundary like?
It has changed for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to be more open to handling, difficult people, but not anymore.
But Brian, in 2025, hard line.
Life's too short. Yeah. So I don't care how big the resume is, how much money they make. If it's going to be really a nightmare, it's not worth it to me.
Yeah.
And I know other agents that are perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
And can handle that. But I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, years ago, it was whatever, this is the norm, okay.
But you've lost enough sleep over stuff
yes,
like that.
and I've seen that it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
I have people that are really great and are not difficult, and we've built careers. So it can be done.
Very much so. But so you met this actor.
So I met this actor, yeah. So I took him on, and because he was so, and I had no frame of reference because he had nothing on tape. It was all theater. And I was like, oh, great. You did, Shakespeare on the Saskatoon River. That's wonderful. And then, of course,
no shade to Saskatoon River.
no, exactly. But, and within 2 months, he got a lead in a movie of the week. And
well, there you go.
Then, not even a year later, he got a lead in a series. And and now, I mean, that's Tom Rooney. He's one of the best actors in the country. So
I think that's actually important for people to hear what you just said, where it's you sign with them. And I think some people, when they sign with an agent, they think, okay, now it's just going to happen. Well, firstly, it took a couple months for something to happen. And then after that, it took, you said not even a year, but the fact that a year is a benchmark where it's if you don't book something in a year, that's not the end of the world.
No, God, no.
Yeah.
No. I had a guy I took on when he was 23, and he was just so funny and charming and wonderful, and it was difficult to get him work because he was 23 but looked like such a man. So he was going up against other people in their late teens and early 20s, and he looked like a predator. Right. It made no sense. Yeah. So we finally got to a point where he was, and this went on for 4 or 5 years.
That's
get a
huge.
couple jobs a year.
Yeah.
But no traction really. And then when he was 28, 29, it's perfect timing.
Right.
And then has not stopped working.
But perfect timing happened 7 years later.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
So I do want to talk a little bit about, the industry at times ebbs and flows. Sometimes you're working a lot, sometimes you're not working. And I find actors tend to get in their heads of I haven't booked for a year. Is my agent pissed at me? Is it, I'm being seen for auditions, but I'm not booking.
I had a meeting with my agent in the summer about this exact thing.
Are they going to drop me? Like I had an agent tell me right when I came out of school, I was with him for about a year, wasn't really being even seen that often, mainly commercials. And I was like, hey, just want to jump on a call. Like, are we all good? Like, I'm not really being seen for a lot of stuff. And he's like, look, man, like I tried to submit for an Italian role. They want to see real Italians. If I get, something for a Jewish jock, I'll send you out. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't know better to be like, okay. I was like, okay, you know best. But he's like, but you haven't been making me money. So if you don't book in the next few months, I'm going to drop you. And I was like, okay.
He said that?
Yeah. So now I'm going to every audition like, fuck, I got to book something. I got to get this. He didn't end up dropping me, but I ended up leaving. But that's besides the point. The question is, when considering whether or not to drop a client, what are some of the things that go through your mind? Is it simply just you haven't gotten any work in X amount of years? Is it, castings bringing you in, but it doesn't seem like there's much growth here? Is it, you're just not a nice person to be around? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of factors.
Yep.
But is there a number one thing? Is there a timeline? Is there something that just sets it off?
No, there's no real timeline. It really depends on the person and what they're doing and what kind of feedback I'm getting from casting. This year has been especially challenging. And I've had many of those calls from clients about...
How so?
I haven't been seen, what's going on, casting, they don't like me anymore, blah, blah, blah. And it's just because this year has been... there's such a contraction in the business. So there's just no volume.
Right.
And we are the busiest place in the business. I mean, LA is really quiet.
Yeah.
Vancouver's a little bit busy, but we are the busiest.
Yeah.
And the problem is that because LA and New York is pretty quiet, all of those people are available.
Yeah.
I mean, we had this really great miniseries, sort of what they call limited series now for Netflix, like 8 1 hours. And there was this great recurring part. It was 5 out of 8 episodes. And I, sent a couple of my guys and they were on the short list. It was perfect for them. And then the part ended up going to an American
who normally wouldn't have been available.
Who just came off a lead of a series.
Yeah.
Who normally would not do a part like that. A supporting part, 5 episodes.
But that actor has to pay their mortgage and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is where we are. Your competition is no longer, 50 guys. It's 500 guys.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is the conversation I have explained to them. It's not you.
Right.
It is where we are.
Right.
But in other times, there have been... You kind of have to figure out, like... And I keep track of how many auditions.
Yeah.
I mean, I got this guy out of George Brown Theatre School. The first year, he had 60 auditions and didn't book anything. And he was like,
been there.
Should I go back to school?
Yeah, been there,
and I was
man.
like, no. The feedback is really good. People really like you. You're a charming person. And you obviously have a strong work ethic. So we just got to keep, plugging away. And then started to book a couple of little things, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually a series, recurrings on series, blah, blah, blah. So it takes the time it takes, I got a guy who moved from Winnipeg and within 2 months got a lead on a series.
Yeah.
And then other people, it takes years.
Right. You got to really forge
You
it.
just have to figure out, okay, it's not them, it's just the situation. They're not quite right for it. People seem to really like them, getting good feedback, that kind of thing. But there are times where it gets to a point. I mean, I had a guy that I felt really confident about. And, it was like 4 years with a lot of auditions and didn't book anything.
Yeah.
So that's the time you kind of have to go, it's not working. And maybe it'll work elsewhere.
Right.
And maybe by the time you go to another agent, you'll be in a different category and there'll be more opportunities.
You mean just because of like how the actress changes a person, their age, what they look
all
like?
That. Yeah.
This is so comforting even for me to hear because I feel like a lot of people listening, myself included, being in this conversation, have gone through periods where it's like, I've done 60, 70 auditions and I wouldn't submit anything I wasn't proud of. And I have a good relationship with my agent where they would tell me if it wasn't quality work and I trust them, they trust me. But if something's not working, I sometimes do feel lost in that sauce and they do tell me very, empathetically, it's like, you just got to keep going. It's not like you're on a timeline here in terms of if you don't do it in this amount of time, you're not supposed to be an actor.
Right.
Yeah.
So on that note of you saying you put out work that you're proud of and your agent gives you feedback.
Yeah.
it's normal. Sometimes you submit an audition, and as an agent, I'm sure you're like, you know what, I think we could do this a little bit better. Do you mind retaping? Has there ever been a situation where you've told an actor to retape? And I guess there's two parts to this question. One, they go, no, I think this is the best that I could do. Or they retape and it's still not where you feel it needs to be. In that situation, do you submit it anyways?
Yeah, would you ever not submit a tape? Because you think that submitting it would maybe do more harm than good.
Both to the actor and your relationship with
pretty
casting.
Rare. I don't even recall if I've ever not submitted a tape.
Okay.
If it was maybe for technical reasons or something, but yeah, I don't think so. And if I tell an actor to retape it, I don't ever recall anyone saying, No, I think you're
this
wrong.
is as good as I could do.
Yeah, because I rarely say retape.
Yeah, Jerry, you should really stop saying that to your agent.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, good to know. Noted.
Yeah, if he asks you to retake, you should probably
That was just
do
him
that.
asking for permission.
I was just asking if I could do that with my agent.
No.
No.
Would never.
No. Yeah, I mean, and I never sent a tape without watching it. And it's funny, I had this casting director.
Yeah.
Yes, unpack that.
She was shocked because she said that she has received tapes that obviously they did not watch.
Yeah.
Because the sound was off, the picture was off. It was like, or it was terrible. And I was like, I will never send a tape unless I watch it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
because I have to be able to say, like, he chose to do that accent for this reason.
Right.
That kind of thing, which, makes no sense. But
you know what? No, hold on. I work at like Casting Central and LB Acting Studio, and I have seen some crazy tapes and auditions where the choice that was made has no.
All right, Daniel, which one was it? Just tell me.
In any sort of like reality that is built, but they made a choice anyway. So I totally get what you're talking about there.
yeah, I mean, I've had someone where they've misread the description for some reason.
Yeah.
And they do it in a way that's not right. Mm-hmm. So I have asked them to retape it. Please lose the Southern accent.
Right.
That kind of thing. Yeah, you're just not good at Southern accents.
Yeah.
Right.
Really. So
Not a personal thing. It's just not
don't do
reading.
it.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. But it's pretty rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, this is the thing that I have to be confident in the client because timing these days is so tight.
Yeah.
You mean the turnaround?
Yeah.
Yeah.
48 hours, 24 hours.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm sending it out there and I'm just like, I need this by 3:00. No questions asked.
Yeah.
So it's got to be really great because we do not have time to retape it.
Correct.
So, or I will say to the casting person, I just got it. It was a little off. He was rushed, blah, blah, blah. So I just need a little bit of an extension.
Yeah.
But of course, the extension thing, this is becoming a habit with some people.
Yeah.
And
I know where you're going with this.
Casting does not like it.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them because they're under a gun too.
For sure.
Right.
Because especially with an episodic, I mean, producers are like, we need those tapes. We need those tapes.
It's different for a movie where maybe they have more time.
If you've got
Pre-production,
months,
yeah,
then it's
for a
fine.
network show,
But
especially.
episodics, I mean, the timing for an episodic is, you get the audition on Wednesday. It has to be in on Friday because wardrobe's going to be Thursday. Mm-hmm. So that's how fast it has to go.
Right.
So you do not have 4 days to do it. You have 48 hours.
It's so interesting because, like, when we talk to from the actor's perspective, a lot of time there's a lot of like a community built around the like, how dare they, but like, I can't believe they're only giving me like 24 hours.
Yeah, did they not know they needed to cast this part?
Like, I need to honor this part, which is true, but there's so many things behind the scenes that like actors don't realize.
Right.
One of which is like casting is like one of the last steps in that process. So if they are asking you for that turnaround, there's usually a really good reason for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the 24-hour thing should be pretty rare because really they're not technically allowed. It has to be 48 hours.
Like union
at
mandated.
least. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that in those instances, the casting director will explain why. Sometimes they'll do like can you retape this, please? And I need it like tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier because they already comfortable with the side stuff. It's just retaping for whatever reason.
For sure.
That kind of thing. But yeah, for the most part, and I will say to casting, that's really not fair.
Yeah.
24 hours with 6 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I
I
mean,
don't know. Part of me is kind of like, if you can't do it, don't submit. Like as an actor, I'm like, I'll do 6 pages.
But I
in
also
24 hours.
am curious. I've gotten auditions where it says it's not required to memorize the lines, and as we know in the States, they're always holding the sides, and I've heard that it's weird if you don't have the sides in your hand, because in the US, they see it as if you're not holding the script, this is your final product. And you always have to be able to improve. Where in Canada, it seems for the most part, I would say, you're expected to be off book. When you're given 24 hours, 48 hours for a lead role, 8, 10-page audition, which I know in the union, I think they can only do at most 8 now.
I think so.
Yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
Is there still that expectation of you got to be off book if you're holding the sides in your hand? Is casting going, no, he's not?
I've had people that taped with sides in their hand.
And has casting ever said?
Or it's obvious to me that they've put the sides here,
Right, they're reading
just off the
And
camera.
they're using it as their eyeliner.
Yes. Oh yeah, totally.
yeah.
Yeah. And some people, you don't even really notice, or it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
Really. So it's totally fine to hold the sides in your hand while you're taping.
Right. Different if you're like saying a line.
Like looking down or
and
the
then
papers like
if you're not really, if you don't know the material, different.
Yeah.
But just I want to clarify.
Bit more comfortable.
So from your perspective, casting isn't, if I'm talking to you like this in rhythm, and for those of you who are not watching and just listening, I'm sort of speaking to Brian, but I'm speaking with my hands as well. And if in one of my hands, there are papers in my hands, and even if a little bit of the paper comes into the frame, that's not as something that you're saying casting is and go, what the hell?
No, totally fine.
Okay, so I have a couple that I want to go back to back on.
Okay, I have some too, but you could go ahead. Mine's related to like auditions, casting.
Go.
Okay, so again, referencing the US, I've heard that some agencies, if they're trying to push for an actor and casting won't bring them in, they'll use some other clients as leverage of, okay, well, if you don't see this client, I'm not going to submit this client for this other role. Or I know you want my client for this, you're not getting them unless you see this client for the other role. Is that something that you guys ever consider? Is that something only in the States? Like, how could you unpack that for us? Is that bad? Is that bad to do with casting? Would that ruin a relationship?
I think that sort of may be at a place where we're talking like high profile.
Yeah, like stars.
Packaging, yes. So, I mean, that kind of thing they can get away with. And this is the difference, I think, is that in the States, I have found that agencies have a little bit more power than casting.
Yes, this was one of our other questions.
Whereas
that
here,
power dynamic.
it's a little bit more equal.
Right.
So I wouldn't be comfortable with ever doing that.
Okay.
Because like you're working together here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas there it feels a bit more like...
I mean, we're working together to get our clients on a production.
Yeah.
So
Right.
casting and us, for the most part, casting here is pretty great about, like, they want people to work.
Yeah,
Right.
very much.
So,
Right.
So I would never sort of hold someone back.
Yeah.
Because then that's bad for the client too. You know?
Right.
So yeah, I would never do that.
Okay,
But I mean, I don't have, I have a Brad Pitt and a Channing Tatum. So if you don't book Channing, you're not going to get Brad.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if that was that,
Right,
That's a
right,
different
different-
echelon.
right.
making
Yeah.
$100 million
right.
a year, then yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Okay, we'll go with your question.
I didn't know if you had another one.
No.
Okay.
No,
great.
no, go for it.
So you mentioned before the idea of feedback. And sure, once in a while, like I think I've only in my entire career so far have done this like once, maybe twice, where I had a slew in like 1 week. I got seen like 5 times by this one casting director that kept me very busy. And I felt great about my auditions. I felt very good about it. The in the room stuff that I did was I got great notes from the casting director and didn't hear anything. And so in that moment, I reached out to my agent being like, can we reach out to them and just like see if there's any notes or feedback that maybe they didn't think to give me or have time to give me in the room? Because I felt great. I wonder if my barometer and sense of value is off here.
Sure.
And I think a lot of actors, when they feel insecure, are looking, yes, for validation, but also just a sign on the road that they're at least going in the right direction. But like you were talking about before, time is such a valuable commodity that a lot of people don't have these days, especially on the casting side of things. So how often do you feel like you're able to reach out to casting for feedback? Do you ever find that it's not worth it? Or are there any times where you tell your client who asks for feedback, I'm not going to do that? What does that conversation with the actor and then the subsequent conversation with casting look like in terms of getting feedback?
Yeah, you have to weigh what the project is, what the part is, who the client is, all that sort of stuff. You have to sort of maneuver your way through that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say to you, if you had 5 auditions with the same casting person, that's your feedback right there. That's
Great.
it.
Yeah. And
That's all
what
you need to know.
And that's what I took it as in the moment.
Absolutely.
And then a
Yeah.
week later, my insecure actor brain kicked in.
No.
Yeah.
You have to tell that person to go to sleep.
Yeah. That's what my friends here told me to do as
And
well.
I have had clients who say like, "Oh my God, I've auditioned for Sheriff Country like 7 times."
Yep.
It's like, yeah, that's great. Obviously, they like you.
I'm laughing with Robert because shout out to Sharon Forrest. I think at this point, I've had like 11 auditions for Hudson and Rex. And like, I always feel good about it. And like, I was talking to Robert there about the fact that I've been seen so many times. I think it was like my 8th or 9th audition. I even expressed out loud to him, like, why the fuck am I doing this? If they don't want me, then why ask me to audition? And the answer is because they wouldn't ask me to audition if they didn't think I could do it.
Yeah, Sharon doesn't screw around.
She's great.
She
Yeah.
does not have time.
Yeah.
So, she feels confident
Yeah.
that there will be something for you eventually. That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does that conversation look like with the actual casting director then?
Which conversation?
Oh, if you do decide, if you do the calculus,
Oh, if you do want feedback.
if it's the right actor in the right moment for the right kind of role, the right moments in their career, whatever, and you're kind of going as an agent, yeah, it is kind of weird. Like, what's happening here?
Absolutely. I will reach out to them.
And what does that conversation look like?
It depends. I mean, initially it'll be like an email exchange.
Okay.
And if it's too vague, then I'll say, can we have a chat about it? That
you got
kind of
2
thing.
minutes, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, definitely, because I will wonder, especially if it's not like a series or something, it's for a film or for a miniseries, and I'll just sort of want to know, like, what are they thinking that they're not, seeing this guy again for a callback, or what is it they're looking for? And it's sometimes, I mean, like I said before, you can see from the callbacks, oh, okay, that's where they're going to go.
Yeah,
like we
right.
just had, there's this current limited series. It's a really great project. And I said, and I have a couple clients that are really particular about what they auditioned for. So I will send them the breakdown. Do you want to be submitted for this? What do you think about this? Especially if it's, a touchy subject kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've had that conversation. They said, "Oh yeah, I'd really like to audition," and then they don't get an audition. So then they reach out to me and say, "How come I didn't get an audition?" for that?"
Yeah.
So
You're like, brother, we talked about
But
this.
then I see who they brought in. It's like, oh well, those guys are 15 years older,
Right.
Yeah.
and they are really specific types.
So maybe even if you crushed your audition, I'm not going to call casting for that because there's
No.
an obvious reason.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I will get feedback and find out what they were thinking.
Yeah.
And it could be, a physical thing. Yeah, it's hard to say.
I'm curious, how much does resume experience, there's a lot of factors, again, when submitting for certain roles and projects and the size of the role. I've heard in recent years, headshot doesn't really matter that much anymore. It's more so about the demo.
That's not true.
Okay,
Oh my God, that's not true.
So-
Myth bust. Go
Yeah.
for it.
So what do you
Absolutely.
think if there's an order?
Well, when casting gets the submissions,
Yeah.
because I've seen what the other side looks
Yeah, yeah,
like.
yeah.
I mean, they probably get like 1,000 submissions.
And it's when they see the
And they're
submission, they're
all
tiny
little tiny pictures.
So the
Yes.
first thing they see actually is that tiny photo.
But and that's what people say, it's not important because like they see a tiny little photo on a screen, they
Oh,
can't even see it, they don't
yeah.
care. All they care
Yeah.
about is the demo.
Yeah.
So from your experience, both past and current present day, has there been a shift of, before when you print a headshot and get a resume, it's a big photo, you can see what the person looks like. Nowadays, because it's so small, are they just quickly glancing over? Are they clicking to enlarge the photo and be like, oh, I see what he looks like? Is it based off of, oh, I know Jared, I know Daniel, yeah, I know what they look like, I know their resume, I know their demo. I guess what I'm trying to ask is when casting is considering somebody, from your perspective as an agent, what is the most important part of the submission? Is it the demo? Is it the resume? Is it the headshot? Is it all three?
Definitely headshot to start with. But, most of the time casting knows them already, that
Right.
kind of thing. So they'll make their lists from the people that they know.
Right.
And then if that's not enough, they'll go back to people that they may not know and they'll look at the picture. And we have, when we submit, we can submit a specific kind of picture.
Right.
So
I
having
have
the options is
Yeah.
valuable.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I will choose, what picture works for this part. Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt your answer, but on that note, how many looks do you feel are important for an actor to have?
Well, 2 for sure. Casting workbook gives you the opportunity to have more
Yeah.
without having to pay more, I don't think. But like 3 or 4.
And could you talk
Yeah.
about that? Like one smiley, one more
Like,
dramatic.
I feel like
And
whatever.
it also depends if you do commercials too.
Right.
So
right.
if you want sort of something that works for commercials, because I don't do commercials, we have a
Right.
commercial department,
Right.
that does,
Yeah.
and they have a specific look that they always want to have. So yeah, it just depends on what the part is, really, what works. So yeah, a little darker, a little more serious, and then a little bit, generally nice person kind of thing.
Yeah.
It just depends what you want to put out there. You
Right.
know?
It's interesting whenever I have that conversation, especially with newer actors, about headshots. Like let's say they're new and they don't have any headshots, and they go, "What should I get?" Yes, having a range is important, but you also have to make sure that you can, whatever photo you are saying that you can use to submit, you have to be able to back that up.
Represent
And so-
that character.
right? And so, like the staple
Yeah.
that I sort of I love, but I also make fun of, and I'm sure you've seen 1,000, if not a million, of these, is an actor leaning up against a wall with a leather jacket, looking smoldering into the camera, and that's a great shot, especially if you have the right kind of photographer who knows to capture that. But then, if you're using that as an agent, if you're using that photo to submit to a casting director, and that actor gets the part. But then when they walk into the room, the Zoom audition, or even on their tape, and they come in with this slightly more jovial, warmer kind of energy, it's like, bro, that is not the version of you that I pitched.
Yeah.
That's not the person we thought we were bringing in. It's sort
Right.
of like false advertising.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we try to, like I said, match the picture with the part that you're submitting them for
Yeah,
sure.
Right.
very much so.
Yeah, so it's good to have those opportunities. And I have submitted someone and then emailed a newer picture or a different kind of picture that's not out, that I couldn't submit online, just to say they just got the haircut, or this is what they look now,
Sure,
that
sure,
kind
sure.
of thing, just to make sure that we're clear.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to, as we're wrapping up 2025, going into the new year, I think one of the biggest things that's shifted over the last couple of years is the self-tape game. There have been, the self-taping has grown. I think it was already kind of a thing before the pandemic. Now it's the predominant way to audition.
It's like 97%.
Yeah.
Is self-tapes.
And the industry standards for what is seen as good, bad, acceptable, unacceptable for self-taping has changed. There was a period where it was all about having the proper backdrop and the proper lighting and the proper frame. And now what I'm actually very grateful for is there are a bunch of self-tapes that are going around which show, not to a crazy degree, but they're breaking those rules and breaking those molds. And so I'm curious, from your perspective as an agent, has there been a trend in self-taping of what's been accepted or unaccepted in the eyes of casting in terms of following those rules? Of course, you got to be seen. Of course, you got to be lit and heard properly. There's no question about that.
That's the most important thing.
But then in terms of the camera movement, in terms of having a backdrop, what are some of the things that...
Sorry, I was just thinking of one of my clients decided
go.
to be really arty. And
I did one last week with Robert that was
so
very artsy.
shot just profile
Yeah.
through the whole, and in the corner of the screen.
Yeah.
Just doing that.
Meaning you could only see half their face,
Yes.
not one was not lit.
And in the corner.
Okay.
Yeah. So this huge brick wall.
Yeah.
And then
There's
just
just a
them in
little-
the corner. It's that is not going to work.
Not going to work.
You're like,
No.
I see what you're trying to do there, but you were doing that again.
Yeah, retake that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes, I mean, I don't think it makes a huge difference. I mean, I have clients that are able to tape in a way that looks very filmic. It's really looks really great.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe it might impress a producer or something. I don't know. But for the most part, bottom line, the lighting, the sound, and the background, as long as all of that does not distract from what you're doing,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay.
So you just got to make sure that, I mean, I've had this, argument with clients about the sound. I mean, sometimes I get a tape and you have to crank it in order to hear it.
Right.
Oh, like
because
volume.
they're too far from the mic.
Right.
But the reader is just coming through loud and clear.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you crank it to hear the actor,
Then it's too loud.
the reader is super loud. So you got to really pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes actors don't watch the tape before they send it, which I'm always shocked about.
They don't watch the tape
No.
before they send it.
That is something I
They're like,
always.
oh, I don't want to watch it.
I have to, because there's been
You have
times
to.
You have
where
to.
I've almost submitted a tape, and I didn't realize I didn't edit a part. So I'll do a take, and I'll be like, blah, blah, fuck, okay, let's go again.
I've had tapes like that.
I'm like, no, there was
Say,
one time I almost
I'm
submitted
gonna
that.
need you to cut that out.
Yeah,
you go,
yeah.
fuck, I have to. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and I was like, oh boy, I'm glad I didn't submit that one. So
This is Hallmark. You can't be saying fuck 10 times. in the audition.
Because there's always like trends in taping. Like I think one of the, I guess in the last decade, one of the bigger tapes that became really, really famous was Dacre Montgomery's tape for Stranger Things. That made its rounds on social media. And what we noticed was that after that, there were a slew of actors, but also acting studios and teachers who would then recommend to their clients that in between their scenes, they should add a little moment of them dancing to some music to show their personality, just because Dacre Montgomery did this in a tape. And now you have, I think, is it Britt Lauer? Is that her name from?
was it the bathroom one?
From Severance?
The
From
bathroom
Severance, yeah. When she's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good tape.
Now everyone's doing their tapes in the bathroom.
Well, you do have a lot of people who, and I don't know if this is really a bad thing. It's kind of a freeing thing where there are moments. There was an idea of like you have to your face always has to be in the frame, but there's a moment where she stands up in her tape, so you're just seeing like her the lower part of her legs as she's banging on the door, and there's like an unsettling nature to that. So you have a lot of people who are now playing with that, and it's just like I wonder, as we go through these ebbs and flows of self-taping, how creative can you get with them? Because I get from the actor's perspective of like, you know what? They've seen the solid blue backdrop. Like out of all these submissions, so many of them are going to have the backdrop that actually makes it look a little flat. Yeah. And so if I am an actor who, whether it's I haven't booked in a while or I'm really excited by this tape, if I never hear from anyone, I'm not going to hear from the director, from casting, nothing. I want to do whatever fucking version is inspiring me. And if that breaks the rules a bit, okay, fuck it. I'd rather pitch myself the way I want to. But then you as an agent also have to weigh that against the other side of it. And so how do you go about that?
It depends what it's for. Like if it's for an episodic, I wouldn't get
crazy.
Creative with it. But for like an independent film, some really great people involved, a really great script, interesting parts.
Maybe a particular kind of director.
Yes. Then sure, do it. And I've had guys that have, which I personally don't like, and I've asked casting about it. They don't really mind, but eating in an audition, it makes me crazy.
Really?
That's so interesting.
Like, throwing peanuts in their mouth and talking away, or eating an apple or whatever.
Why? Why does it make you crazy?
I don't know. It's just
unappealing to watch.
Is it
I don't want to watch your mouth moving like that.
Is it also like you can't let the audition become about eating? If that's what the whole tape is about, then it's just you eating. Whereas like they take a bite of an apple and then throughout the rest of the scene you don't. It's like, okay,
but it
worked for a moment.
Here's the thing about that though, is that everything we're talking about here should be labeled with an asterisk. Asterisks? Is that how do you? Asterisks? I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
A little star.
A little star.
Shift 8 on the
cut
keyboard.
that out.
Shift 8.
We'll cut that out. Yeah.
Keep it in. Just because it always does depend. Like there was an audition for a role in Interview with a Vampire that happened. I think it was like last year or earlier this year, where for one of the characters, I think they had 2 scenes or whatever it was. And in both scenes, which were very short, almost every stage direction, like maybe it was every other stage direction, was about him grotesquely eating chicken. Like the point, like a key element. Remember what I'm talking about?
I helped you with this one.
So like there was so much about this guy where the image of him like really eating chicken and the visual of that was a part of what this script talked about. And so I feel, correct me if I'm wrong as an agent, in a situation like that, it is worth considering incorporating that into your tape to show that you can actually go through the grotesqueness of that.
Yep.
Or are you saying it's not worth it because it automatically makes us retreat?
Something like that's really specific. So
Right.
I don't think it would be harmful to do it.
In that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just because it's so like. But if you're trying to show like kooky casual or
And it's not really a part of the scene.
right,
Yeah.
a hard ass, that kind of thing, and you're throwing peanuts in your mouth and stuff like that. It's like,
Okay, no peanuts. Got it. Yeah.
So I have two questions about submissions. First, very just basic question. Now that things have changed and it's all self-tapes, how many submissions are you guys really sending out to cast? Like, when you guys submit actors for roles, how many are you trying to push per role that casting's willing to see?
Well, I can only speak for myself.
Right.
And I have a small roster. So I don't have the opportunity to submit like 10 people per part.
For the same rate.
It's going to be really specific, you know, and if the character is really specific, then, I mean, it could be, it just depends how general, if it's just guy who's 30 to 40, then yes, I'll have, probably 8 to 9.
Yeah. Right.
But if it's, 35 and a dad and blah, 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 then I'll have maybe 1 or 2.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Interesting. And in regards to submissions, social media, we live in this day and age where everyone wants to be an influencer or they care about followers.
I actually don't know if that many people really, if many actors want to be an influencer, but there's definitely a pressure to dedicate time to it.
So the question really is, how much does a social media following really benefit, or is it detrimental to some actors? I've heard actors on podcasts speak about how they don't have social media because they feel it takes away from the mystery of who they really are as a person. It's hard to believe a guy posting photos, with his baby and his kids and his wife is this crazy killer. In their mind, they're like, I don't think casting or productions will now believe me as this person because this is what I have online. Whereas other people are like, no, you need the biggest following, and that's how you're going to get into with casting and get bookings. And so, is it of utmost importance for actors to have a following?
And I remember, maybe 2 years ago, a casting director put out a breakdown.
Yeah.
And it was like, must have at least 15,000 followers. And I was like, oh, no, don't be ridiculous. That's crazy.
But then they're looking for influencers. They're not looking for an actor.
And that was a very specific kind of project for a very specific kind of network.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, well, you go do what you have to do. But yeah.
But again,
so we don't really get that. We don't get casting people calling, how many followers do they have?
Right.
Like, it really, at this point in time, it is not a concern.
Ever.
No.
And if it ever was a question, is it more so, I guess, the producers or maybe the network that cares?
It's one of those things like, maybe producers want someone who has 2 million followers so they can get more financing, something like that. Like, we got this super popular person, so, we can get an extra $1 million for the budget, that kind of thing. But for the most part, I don't think it's...
People don't really care, huh?
I don't think
I think that's to be very refreshing.
And that kind of thing goes up and down all the time, right?
Of course.
So, yeah,
I think if someone does have a social media presence, like anything else, if you know someone or you can bring that marketing aspect to a project, that's obviously positive in the mindset of the people who are investing in it, but it doesn't really affect your ability to perform it.
Right.
And so if it is a factor, I've heard a couple casting directors talk about this where it's like, it's only really a factor if we're talking like millions and millions and millions. And it's really only a factor like at the end of the day where it's like after you've already gone through 3 or 4 rounds
between you and somebody else.
It's down to you and someone else, and they really can't make up their mind. So a lot of actors, I think about social media because it's one of the few things that they are in control.
Yeah.
And so they go, well, sure, I can control my craft, and I can control how hard I work and the skills I pick up. But even if I take control of all of that, that's still not going to dictate my opportunity. And so if I have more time, why not dedicate to this other thing? But then I think they lose the plot in that a little bit.
Yeah, and it can be detrimental if, maybe on social media, if you look like a dick.
Yes.
If you say stupid things or act stupid things.
That's part of it, right?
Weird shit. Then they go, oh, okay,
Jared.
this guy.
I know.
Come on.
So it's
Gotta
like,
be careful what I say on the podcast.
They could look at it and go, okay, this could be your problem down the road.
Right.
So we're just going to avoid
Let's just avoid
that.
it altogether, yeah.
And so speaking of down the road, because again, like so much of what we were trying to get to you about is your perspective on the relationship with casting with actors. And so you were talking before about this notion of, we were talking about like type and hit, and where, let's say a casting director, you pick up a phone to a casting director because you know your client can do something. And for whatever reason, good or bad, that casting director doesn't see this actor as that, or doesn't even know that they can do it, even though you and the actor are like, no, I know my guy can do this. You just haven't seen him do it professionally yet. What are the things that you as an agent, as a teammate with your actor, can do to help shift the mind of casting in that moment? Because obviously sometimes it's like, I'm really sorry, Brian, we only have time to see these 20 guys, and I know these guys can do it, so I'm going to see them.
Absolutely.
But what are the various things on the agency side of things that an actor can do to help shift the mind of casting?
Well, I mean, pretty much the only thing you can do is if you really feel strongly that they're missing out, then you put them on tape and you send it to them and say, please watch.
Meaning like with the material of that role in audition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because usually I know someone in the agency has got an audition for that part. So I get to access the material.
Great.
And read it over and go, oh, maybe I kind of see what they're thinking about for you. Or I'll just say, just put a scene on tape and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And then you can't, the casting director can say, I just don't have time to watch it. Or they'll say, I watched it and I still don't think they're right.
Yeah.
It's only so much you could do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend who did a role in a movie, and I think it was the role of I think it was a romantic lead. But it was a very kind of nice guy romantic lead who you didn't think was going to get the girl in the end kind of thing. And he just wrapped a movie with doing that role. And it was for a big network. And then a breakdown came out for a different casting director, and it was essentially the same kind of breakdown. And so they submitted, my friend's agent submitted him, didn't get an audition. Agent picked up the phone and was like, no, you got to see him. He could do it. And they're like, no, we just don't see him as that. No, he just
did the thing.
filmed the role. And in the time that they were having the conversation, the actor had received an email from production of some clips showing him doing the damn thing.
Perfect.
So he obviously sent it to the agent. The agent goes, no, look, I can show you he's done the thing. And the casting director still goes, yeah, sorry, just don't see him. And so at a certain point, there's only so much you can do. And it's like, you want to fight and scrap for everything. But at what point do you kind of just take it on the chin and move on?
Yeah. But it's also... just doing, your research of who's involved and, do I know the writer? Do we maybe represent the director? Is there another way you can go about this? You
got to get creative.
Yeah, you just have to try as many avenues as you can before you stop. I remember when, back in the olden times, before you were born, I was still an assistant, but the agent was away on vacation. So I was covering, it was a lot.
You had the keys to the house.
Pretty much, yes. And he had a client with some, U.S. name recognition.
Okay.
Stunningly gorgeous, hot, sexy person. And the casting director...
He's right here.
And I was...
Thanks, Brian.
Awkward cat. And I was doing the submissions because the agent was away. So I submitted her for this part, movie of the week, whatever. Mm-hmm. And the casting director was like, no, she's just too she's too hot for it. They need more sort of maternal, mom kind of thing. And the actress had just told me that, it sounds so weird, but this is the business. Yeah. She had just dyed her hair. So she went from surfer blonde to brunette. Okay. And I said, send me a picture. Yeah. She sent me the picture. I sent it to casting. They're like, oh yeah, that would work. Okay. And she got the part.
Damn.
They could not see.
Right.
You could just put a wig on her, or you dye it. Ugh. But so you have to sort of give them the whole thing. Here you go, it's ready.
So this is interesting because we all work in a very creative industry. We're all trying to be creative to create these things, and I think sometimes people view agents as a more administrative role, which I think to an extent it kind of is because it's a lot of communication and contacts and pitching and stuff like that. So as being a very important pillar of this creative industry, how is an agent able to be creative? What are the creative elements of being an agent?
That's a good question. I have no idea. No. It's just it's knowledge. Knowledge is power. And knowing just knowing people and knowing projects and who else is involved, and just all of those things,
Yeah.
can spark something. And like I said, we all talk to each other at work, and so-and-so reps this person who's been offered the lead. There's no auditioning. They've already been offered
already
the
put it
lead.
out there.
So the breakdown comes with that person already attached.
Yeah.
So we have access to the script before other people have had access to the script. So we go through it. Is this something that's viable? So it's all that. What's the budget? Who's the director and the producers? Have we worked them before? And I can sort of access that. In casting workbook, you can punch in the director,
Sure.
and it'll say all of my clients that have worked with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just that sort of like, oh, okay, this
You
would
can
work.
make the connections.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about. It's just like, what are all of my, all the tools that I can use to make this possible.
Yeah. Love that.
So
And I've done that before. I mean, have clients have said, oh yeah, I just, I had a client on a series, and he worked with this particular director. She did like maybe like a third of the block of the season.
Yeah.
So I would always look for her name on breakdowns 6 months later,
Yeah.
if she was shooting episodic.
Hey,
or
girl,
the end of the
remember
week.
so-and-so?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will reach out to casting and say, just so you know, this director worked with my client. They have a really great relationship, a lot of chemistry, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that has worked.
For sure.
Yep.
Totally.
So I am curious for your roster, obviously hard work and talent or skill, however you want to spin it, are important qualities for an actor to have. Those things aside, what would you say is a very common trait or characteristic of your actors that are constantly working, aside from hard work and talent? Is there a specific thing that you could, I guess, connect all the dots between all of your actors that are constantly working, that you could be like, they all do this as well?
And for the record, that could be something in the industry or out of the industry as well.
I think for most of them, and I think this goes back to who do I look to take on, is the kind of person they are. And you can be, hardworking and a really great actor, but if you're a jerk, that kind of comes through. So for the most part, my people take their job seriously, but it doesn't like kill them. It's not like they're just dying like every day, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between that kind of angst and doing the job well.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think for the most part, I mean, I have a couple people that are pretty angsty, but for the most part,
I'm right here.
sorry.
Awkward.
Yeah, they work really hard at it, but it's not the end all and be all. So that comes through, I think, is that they have world experience and life experience.
Yeah.
And that can really come through.
Yeah.
That they have a little bit more going on than just this.
Yeah, being an actor doesn't define their life. It's just a
Absolutely.
facet of
Which is such a weird thing to think about, because like so much of like what we do for a living or work does help define us, and it's very tough if you're dedicating everything you are to being an artist and being an actor to then not have it really define a big chunk of who you are. But in various capacities, you're right. Whether it's from you as an agent, we've heard from casting directors, other actors, that the moment that an actor or an artist had other stuff going on in their life, there was like a sense of like no longer white knuckling the steering wheel.
pick me energy, right?
Pick me energy, and
Absolutely.
things started to flow, and all of a sudden, it's not that they were disconnected from the role or disconnected from the industry, but it was no longer this forceful energy. I'm trying to carve it out. They sort of let things come to them a little more.
Absolutely. Yeah. It makes such a difference to have other outlets. And, I have clients that do so many different things, music or rock climbing or, whatever. Just it sort of helps build your personality so you can bring so much to a character, that has lived, that kind of thing.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Are there common things that actors do that you like or dislike?
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd bring that up.
Oh, please, Brian, please.
I'm proud of you, man.
I used to say, because, unfortunately, I don't know anything about science or technology, but I wanted to invent like a thing that it attached to a text that was like a taser. So
like a dog collar.
yeah. So like, because it means I need you to respond right now. Yes. So that kind of thing makes me crazy.
Well,
like
when an actor doesn't respond.
Yes.
I don't understand this. Like, I've heard from so many of you, they didn't show up, or they didn't, like, why would you not?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Oh, I turned my phone off, or, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, you're killing me.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. And I would like my clients to think about, before you do anything,
Yeah.
how upset will Bryan be?
I think that makes sense. It's a relationship. Just consider
It
the
is.
partner
No,
of the
it's literally like a business
relationship.
partnership
Yeah,
of like,
communicate.
So
yeah.
should I get a tattoo on my face?
I'm dead.
Bryan, how upset will Bryan be?
Has that happened specifically?
No.
Okay.
But the next one, yes. If I shave my head after a callback, will Bryan cry?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So please think about doing something and how your agent would react.
So
if you did it.
what happened there?
They didn't get it.
Because
They shaved their head.
Well, yeah, no kidding. You changed your entire look.
Yeah.
Damn.
And there's I just wasn't thinking about it or whatever.
You're right. You weren't thinking.
Obviously.
I didn't know this.
On the flip side, are there things that actors do that you really
No, sorry,
appreciate
two
or
more-
like?
two more stories.
Oh, okay.
Two more
You
stories.
got a list, man.
Okay.
Two more stories.
You really didn't
Let
want me to
it
ask this
cook, let it
question.
cook.
I'll try to make them quick.
No,
No,
take your
Because
time.
they're really good.
This is great.
In a horrific way.
Yes.
So one of my guys auditioned for a guest star on an episode, like a really great show. And he was on the short list, and casting finally said, no, he didn't get it. Okay. And this is a client who sort of goes back and forth between Toronto and LA and BC. He's got people everywhere. Okay. So he didn't get it. A week later, casting reached out to me. This was a Monday. And they said, the network decided they want to recast. So they would like to cast your guy.
What did he do?
So I said, oh my God, that's so great. Oh, okay. And he said, is he still available? He'd have to go to wardrobe on Wednesday and start shooting Thursday. This is Monday. I went, great. Shouldn't be no problem. My calendar's clear. Fine. This is like mid-afternoon Monday. So I text him right away. No response. Give him an hour. Could be walking in the woods in BC.
Yeah.
So I call, get the voicemail. I really need you to call me. And I laid it all out there. I mean, usually it's like texting. I say, call me right now.
Yeah.
Or I call me right when you get this. And on a side note, when your agent leaves you a voicemail, please listen to the voicemail before you call them back.
Okay.
Not call them, oh, hey, I saw you called.
And now you have to retell them the whole thing.
Right.
Did you listen to the voicemail? Oh, no, I just saw your number come up. What's
Yeah.
going on? I basically said in my voicemail, don't call me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he didn't call me. So we're getting to and casting is not happy that they're not getting a response.
Of course.
So we're getting to midnight on Monday. And casting emails me and says, okay, I'm going to bed now. I need to know about this by the morning. Or they're going to decide not to recast and just put up with what they're putting up with. Oh my God. Okay. So I went to sleep with the phone beside my head.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Full volume.
Full volume
Absolutely.
phone, yeah.
Ringer on.
Yeah, absolutely. So 7:30 in the morning, I get a text from the client. Hey, I got all your messages. Can I call you? Yes.
Can you imagine? It's like, no.
So he calls me, goes, hi, yeah, so that's cool. I said, so of course it's early, so where are you? And he goes, well, I'm in Colombia. I said, are you in British Columbia? No, I'm in Colombia, South America. Okay, great. I should know that.
Yes.
I should know where you are
Yes.
all the time.
I should not be playing Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then he says, but I can do it. I can get there. I can get a plane out of Bogota Wednesday morning. I can get in for wardrobe Wednesday and shoot Thursday. Okay, if you really think. And of course, he didn't tell me at the time. He actually wasn't in Bogota. He was in the jungle, and he was going to get a little plane to get to Bogota to get the plane. But anyway, so I reached out to casting and I said, he's good for it. He's in South America. Casting was like, come on. Like, no. He's good. He said, the only way we're going to book him is if he texts from the plane as it's taking off Wednesday morning.
Like from Bogota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. He texted as
Holy
the plane
shit.
took off. And I let casting know. He's like, okay, he's got it. And he made it.
Yeah. So
And you're like, if you ever do that again, I will fucking kill you.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, don't leave the country without
Yeah.
telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of these stuff has to do with communicate effectively.
yeah.
We're working together.
But this is
here.
not a new person. They've been in the business for a long time.
Oh, so they should know better.
I got him right. He was like 20.
Yeah.
This was not that long ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, this just goes without saying.
Gotcha.
It's like, oh, I know, I just didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't get the part, and I didn't audition for something else. So I thought, I got to just go to South America. And he loves to travel. Great.
Yeah.
Just let me know.
Yeah,
Oh, my
so
God.
I am
Absolutely.
curious with when going out for a part, it says you got to be available all days, and life happens and things come up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever find if someone wants to book somebody for a part and it turns out they're not available 3 or 4 days of the whole shoot, regardless of the size of the part? Obviously, if it's a lead, they got to be available every day. That's a different story. But if it's a guest star, if it's a supporting, and there's a few days here or there that initially they were available, but now life stuff happens, things happen, they want to travel, whatever it is. Has there ever been a point where casting's like, no, they said they're fully available if they're not, we're not interested? Or do they usually tend to work around an actor's schedule?
Right.
It depends what it is. Episodics, pretty
Too tight
much,
of a turnaround, yeah?
And they have 8 days
Right.
to shoot an episode.
Yeah.
So if they book you and then you go, and I mean, there comes a point because we get like, okay, your person's on hold. Are they still available all these days?
Right.
Yes, they are. Okay, now we want to book them, and it'll be, we don't have a firm board yet. It's like probably 2 or 3 days. Are they still available? Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So if we have tentative dates
Right.
and they say, are they still available? And then I say, oh, yeah, they're no longer available. I mean, I have to let them know as soon as I know something's not available.
Right.
Sure.
Immediately. I can't wait till they give me firm dates and go, oh, yeah, he's really not available.
Right.
That won't work.
Bad business.
Because then
Because they need to be able to schedule as well.
then I will look
Right.
stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's some, and stuff happens, yes.
Right.
Someone gets sick, whatever. I will let casting know right away, and if they have to recast or whatever, so be it. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But if it's for, we have more time and they can be a little bit more flexible. I mean, I've had situations where, and this happened during COVID too. I mean, COVID was insane
Yeah.
because it was so incredibly busy and it was all really new way of working.
Yeah.
Contracts were like,
Everything in this industry was in transition.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was insane. And it was quite challenging for me. I mean, working from home by myself, I had no one to assist me, and it was all new stuff.
Right.
And, contracts were 30 pages rather than 6 pages because it was all the protocols
Right,
and everything.
right,
And you
right,
had to
right.
read
Yeah.
everything
Shit.
because there were some producers that really didn't know what they were doing. And so we had to flag all this stuff. So it was a lot. And I had points where I had, at the same time, 2 guys working on 2 different shows in 2 different cities. So coordinating days and travel and all that stuff was very difficult.
Yeah.
But we were able to do it. So it's about communication. So
Right.
if you let casting know these days could be problematic. And they might even already know, oh, that's the location, we would not be using that person. Mm-hmm. So it's not a big deal.
Right.
You just have to give them as much information
So
as
they
possible.
could figure
But there
it out.
are shows that we already know that are always problematic. So you really have to be available for the whole thing.
Or just
because
don't
they're
bother.
not going to, they have a cast of 20.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're
Right.
not going to be able to work around stuff. So
Right.
you just know that.
Are there things that, from your perspective, make a good agent? Things that actors should look out for? Because there's lots of, in my opinion, very good agents out there, but it's not always, the biggest, baddest agent is the only agent you should go with. It's like a relationship. So what are the things that, from the agent side of things, that actors should look out for to give them a sense of security or a sense of confidence, or to avoid when looking for an agent?
Well, I mean, you should always, talk to other actors, whether it's in classes or just actors that and find out what their relationship is like with their agent,
Right.
And how that has gone, how long they've been with them, how many auditions do they get,
Yeah.
what kind of auditions do they get, and just do as much research as possible. You go on IMDb Pro and you can look at the roster.
Yeah.
So you go and
Huge tool.
Oh,
Really
like
is.
they have a massive roster and they have 30 guys my age. So I would hesitate.
Right.
To submit to that.
Yeah.
Even if all those guys are working. Like if they're all working, because that tells me, maybe, so sure, there's 30 of these guys.
But
That
are
would
they
be pretty
available?
rare.
Knows
that would
how
be pretty
to-
rare if
Okay.
all of those guys were working.
Fair enough.
Yes. I would want to work with that agent if all of those guys were working.
Right.
Who? Yeah, give me that name.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
gonna
gonna say, yeah.
talk to them.
Yeah.
So you just do your research and find out, how you would fit in on that roster, and if you're able to, ask people about their reputation, if you're able to have those connections to find out that kind of stuff, just to get as much information as possible, and if you get an opportunity to meet them, have a meeting with them and sit down and get a sense of the type of person that they are, and what their expectations are of you. Just try to get a really good idea of what kind of person they are.
It really does sound like.
Go ahead.
It really does sound like when we're talking about the relationship between actors and agents, the X factors, like there's like the things you want to check off. Do they represent people that I respect? Do I fit in their roster? Like sort of honestly, when you're dating, like you're checking off, am I attracted to them? Do we have similar values? All that stuff. But then the thing that really allows it to mesh is when you are sitting across from that person. It is a feeling. Do I vibe with this person? Do I enjoy spending
Absolutely.
Do you
time
feel
with
comfortable talking to them, reaching
communicating
out?
with them? Do we
Absolutely.
communicate in at least, if not similar, compatible styles? Am I okay with, like I had an agent in the past and great dude, and I would send him an email and his emails would come back as one word. And some people that would be really off-putting, but I was okay with that because I knew when it really mattered, not only would he hop on the phone, he'd spend an hour and a half talking to me. So the only reason he's sending me one word is because that's all it. Now, if that's not okay for someone, so it's all these little communication X factors that help meld or break the relationship.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm at a point where if I would not represent someone that I didn't want to speak to. I mean, there are agents that have clients that they don't really like, but they work all the time.
So it's
So
just
it's like,
business.
screw it, I'll have you on my
Absolutely.
roster because you're making
and
money.
maybe 20 years ago that would have been fine with me, but not
bueno.
anymore. I want to be able to have a phone conversation with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the point of relationship, and we do have to wrap up. So if you have any last questions, it's probably gonna be my last question.
Go for it.
When an actor reaches out to you and says, "Hey, we weren't seen for this role. Can you push me?" What I'm trying to ask is, what's a good way to approach that? Because I personally feel that when I see my friends, Daniel and I go out for similar roles all the time. If he gets an audition that I don't get, I automatically assume, my agent submitted me for that. I'm just not being seen for
You have
whatever
to
reason.
trust.
You know what I
You
mean?
have to choose that.
Absolutely.
There can't be a sense of, well, why wasn't I seen? Like I would never email my agent and just be like, what are you
WTF,
doing? Why
yeah.
wasn't I seen for this? I assume I was submitted.
Exactly.
So what's an appropriate way, and maybe it is different for every relationship, every agent, but how would Brian feel if a client sent you an email, "Hey, Brian, my friend went out for this role. I think I could really nail it." Is the question, did you submit me? Or would you prefer, why was I not brought in for it? Like, what's the language that you would like, and what language would you not like? Obviously, you wouldn't want someone to be like, why the fuck wasn't I seen? Of course.
Yeah. I mean, you should assume that you were submitted.
Right.
That the agent did their job.
Right, yeah.
And because my clients know that I have a small roster.
Right.
So that I'm not submitting 40 people. I'm submitting 2 people. So if they reach out to me, I can give them a specific reason why they weren't seen
Yeah.
for it. So, and that happens, occasionally, but not often.
Right.
It depends what the actor's experience has been. If they worked a lot and they kind of get an idea, I can see why I wasn't seen or whatever. But, if it, like you guys, if, you go against each other quite a bit and a friend of theirs is taped. I mean, I have a client that is a reader for some of his friends.
Yeah.
So if they're auditioning and
he's like, what the fuck?
hey, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
We're weirdos where it's like a lot of the time if any one of the 3 of us has an audition, we'll message the group and be like, "Hey guys, I don't know if you got an audition for this, but I just read this
You
thing.
should be seen for
you
it."
guys should
Yeah.
see if you can get seen
Yeah.
for it." We
Yes.
let each other know for sure.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Because it really is, to us at least, it's the idea of it's not that one's better than the other. as much as it is like whoever's right for the part will get the part.
Yeah, we're similar enough that we could be seen for it, but we're all different enough that they're never going to be the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's totally legit to ask those questions for sure, and the agent should have a good idea of why they didn't get an audition for it. And it could be as simple as, reaching out to the casting director, like, hey, I submitted, and you're seeing these guys that are kind of similar.
Yeah.
So
what's going on? Yeah. Last question for me. I don't know if you have any more, but for a lot of, I feel like in the US, people get maybe I'll say larger opportunities more quickly. I feel like they're more open to taking chances on actors. An actor that doesn't have a massive resume may be seen for a lead role or for a supporting. Whereas in Canada, it feels a bit more a sense of like, you got to kind of build up the resume a bit. If you're a brand new actor, it's possible, but you probably won't be seen for a lead role. You got to kind of earn your stripes a little bit. At what point do you feel an actor reaches that next level? So if someone's done a few roles as an actor, maybe they get a couple principal roles here and there.
Yeah, like the progression, you mean?
Yeah, like is there a certain number of like, okay, you've done 5 large principals, now we could start pushing for guest star and lead? Or is it, you've done 1 or 2 large principals, let's keep building the resume? Like, is there I guess a finite answer, or is it totally based off of what's casting, what's available,
it's
what
all
your
the
look
variables. It's like, what is the project?
Yeah.
I mean, I've put in a guy that had like, he did several short films and one non-union thing, but this, project came along where he was like so perfect for it. Just type and age and all that stuff. So I submitted for him and he taped for it. He didn't get it, but if it's like a gift, if it's so perfect, then you really have to, try and get the audition for them.
So he gets
and have that explanation with the casting director. It's like, I know he doesn't have a ton of experience, but he really is great. And if we got like a coach and I've done that. I mean, a client of mine who did, really good auditions and then got a really phenomenal coach and then killed it.
Yeah.
So, I will do that sort of thing. And there's no real sort of like 5 or 10 or whatever. It's just, you just sort of get a sense of when it's time, you know? Like their last small principal part, they did a really great job. And you see the clips and stuff like that. It's like, wow, you did a lot with so little.
Yeah.
You're ready for that bigger.
When
Right. Yeah. But in a situation like that, you maybe you don't have the resume, but you get submitted for the part and you crush the audition. Is that part of the switch as well? That like, okay, casting saw he could handle a larger role. Now I'm only going to try to push for these larger roles. He didn't
book that role.
Yeah, he didn't get it, but they saw what he could do. So now we're done with these smaller part, and they say, no small parts, only small actors. No,
Yeah.
But is there a sense of like, what? They've shown what they could do to casting. Now we're only going to push for this because it's evident he can handle this.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part. I mean, if it's, I will put people in who've done like big roles in a big feature in a smaller part.
Right.
But yes, there is a progression. Like you get to a point where you don't want to be seen for roles that have no names. Like man,
security guard
or
too,
driver, or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure, there is a progression. Yeah.
Okay. We do have to wrap it up, which kind of sucks because I have like 1,000 more questions for you.
No, Brian, we are so grateful, man. This is great.
But something we've been asking all of our guests is, what is artistically moving you right now? Whether it's a particular piece of art or a movie or a character,
a song,
a book, a song. What is something that is moving you as an agent to stay artistically engaged, and what's driving you?
Just, when I go to see a play and a really great show, like for instance, I mean, I'm not promoting it because it's already sold out. But my client Tom Rooney is doing Rogers versus Rogers at Crow's Theatre, and it's just seeing that kind of performance is just so invigorating. I love when that happens, and I felt that when I have seen fringe shows, or small things or whatever, or someone with a small part in a big project. I just love when that happens, and it's just my proof. Like, see, I mean, this is very possible. This can happen.
Doing the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking your time, your Sunday with us. Like, my gosh,
My pleasure.
Yeah.
right before the holidays.
We're sure your email inbox is slammed right now, so we appreciate you
I
taking.
could hear it while we were talking.
Was that was your email?
I could hear it.
I
yes.
thought it was like Robert's phone or maybe the iPad over there. That
That's
is so
so funny.
funny.
I could hear it.
Yeah.
It
Well-
never
I
stops.
decline in Colombia, probably.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we greatly appreciate this. Normally, we end every podcast telling people to plug directly to camera whatever they want to plug. If you want to plug your socials, if you want to tell people how they could submit to you, because
Yeah,
I'm sure
how
after
would
this
they go about doing
episode,
that?
everybody wants to sign with Bryan, but direct to camera and
Yes, I'm not expanding the roster right now, just so you know.
There you go.
But,
so don't waste your time or his.
But you know, at some point you could reach out to thecharacters.com and it lists how to submit to either Toronto or Vancouver office and what is required. And yes, I'm on Instagram, very boring, a lot of family pictures and stuff like that. So, or at premieres and things like that. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Bryan.
my pleasure. Thanks for having
Really
me.
appreciate your time.
Thank you.